I think so far we've had some amazing healthcare mentors, certainly lots of great information. And our next mentor is Kelly Carrington, and Kelly can turn on his mic and camera again. There he is. Excellent. And um, Kelly does a lot of different things within the healthcare field. So he's actually a registered massage therapist, but he's also a doula. So, Kelly, tell us a little bit about you and your journey.
Well, I'm a dad of three boys, and I've been a massage therapist for 20 years and a doula for about 9. And it just sort of evolved from being a massage therapist into the doula work, and it's been pretty great so far.
Great. Why don't you tell our students what a doula does?
So a doula provides support emotionally and physically to people who are having babies. We provide prenatal education. We're there on the birthday itself, and we provide all of the care that comes after the baby is born for the family.
Excellent. So, did you always think this is what you wanted to do?
No, no, I thought I was going to be playing in the NFL. No, being a massage therapist, it just made a lot of sense to transition into the birth work because I see a lot of pregnant clients, and it just seemed like a good way for me to continue the care for my clients and other people as well. And it just kind of fell into my lap. People thought I would be good at it. And I looked into it and I talked to my wife and she said, go for it. So I did. And it's been a great journey so far.
Excellent. So, what type of education do you need for each of these roles? Because they do have different education.
Yeah, massage therapy is a 2-year diploma program, and there's many schools here in the city and around the country. It's very intensive. You pretty much sign your life over to study for 2 years to become a massage therapist. The doula work, there's different organizations around the country. Most of it is self-directed, but you do have to take some specific courses in order to make the qualifications. And then the biggest part of the work is actually going to births and helping families. And for me, that was probably the hardest thing to do because not everybody wants a doula. And specifically, not everybody wants a doula that looks like me because I don't look like a doula. If there is an image for a doula, I'm not what people envision. But I had enough families that trusted me, and that's how I got my accreditation.
All right. So, what does kind of a normal work day or work week look for you? And I know there's no such thing as a normal work week when it comes to babies.
No, it's not. And so, like with my massage practice, I'm usually booked up with clients 6 weeks in advance of time. And I run a mobile massage company, so I go to people's houses and I go to businesses instead of having an actual clinic. So I'm on the road driving all day. And then when I have a family that I'm working with, like I'm on call for a baby right now. So my clients get a notification that say I'm on call this week. If I can't show up to your massage or if I have to leave in the middle of it, it's because I have to go help a family have a baby. And then that could come any day. And it could be 2 o'clock in the morning and I have to get up and go to town, or it could be 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm with a massage therapy client and I just have to drop everything and go help them. So my days vary. And then of course I have 3 kids. So I have to get up, I'm up at 6 o'clock making lunches, making my wife's lunch, getting them out the door, and then I go to work. And then I just kind of see what my day brings.
So, that's one of the great things about it. Every day is different.
Every day is different. There's never 2 days that are exactly the same. And that's why I really enjoy it. And I'm self-employed. So I am my own boss. So I get to set my own hours. Obviously, babies have their own hour. And so I have to sort of follow how that goes. But it's very fun, for one. And it's great to see people go through that process of becoming parents. And I feel very honored to be able to do that.
So, what do you enjoy the most about your job and what's the most challenging?
I would say the most challenging part is the lack of sleep. I mean, anybody who is a parent, I mean, I have 3 kids. I've been overtired for a long time. But then when you go to help other people, it's hard because you're up. I could be up for 2 days. and still have to function as a human being and a father and a massage therapist. The most rewarding part of the massage is helping people realize that their bodies are an amazing thing, and it does have the ability to heal itself. It just needs a little guidance sometimes. And when it comes to the doula work, it's really just watching families grow. Because the big misconception is that doulas deliver babies. Doulas do not deliver babies. Midwives and OBGYNs deliver babies. Our job is to help, and as corny as this sounds, deliver families. And it's important. That's really the best part about it, is that I get to see families start from day one and then follow them throughout.
Excellent. So what about the pay scale? Like, how much does one make as a doula versus a registered massage therapist?
For massage, it depends on if you work for somebody else. So like it can be $89 an hour is what a company might charge for a massage, but then the massage therapist will get a fraction of that. And sometimes they are under contract or they're self-employed and they can charge whatever they want. So I charge $125 an hour, and it sounds like a lot of money, but I also have to take into account my car payment, my fuel, and my time. So I don't actually make that much money, and you have to pay taxes, of course. For the doula work, it varies between around $800 to $1,500 per baby, which sounds like a lot of money. But when I break it down, I think it works out to be less than minimum wage, the amount of time that I end up spending, because that includes all the prenatal education, the birthday, which could be 6 hours, it could be 2 days, and then all the postpartum, right? So there's really not, it's a great way to make money, but it's not like a dependable way to make money, I would say. But I make a very good living. I'm not lying. Like, I'm not saying that I don't, but that's pretty much what it varies.
So in an average year, how many babies would you be looking after, families?
Right now, as of the end of this year, I will have 12 families, right? Every
Yep.
year it just keeps going up. So I have 5 already booked for the new year. And so like in the beginning, I thought maybe I'll see 6 families a year, because like I said before, there's like this many people that want a doula, and then there's like this many people that would like me. And so it just varies. I never turn anybody away, and I'm always open to working with any families. It just depends on who hires me or not. But on average, I'd say about 10.
All right. And this is just kind of a more detailed question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but who pays a doula? Is it the family, or is it part of our healthcare system?
No, it's outside of our healthcare system. Some families actually do have private healthcare that will pay for it.
Okay.
That's very few, but most of the time it comes out of the pockets of the families themselves, or their friend group or family group will say, hey, we will pay this for you as like a baby gift sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, that's a really neat way to do it, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh, yeah. Because I understand that it's not cheap. But all of my clients say that I don't charge enough as it is.
Well, I mean, knowing a little bit about this, because actually my sister-in-law is a midwife, I know how much time can be put into, going and helping, and some families need a lot more support than others. And if you're charging one fee, then, you may end up putting in a lot of hours, like you say, minimum wage or less.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not really about the money. The money is there to really just cover my time, right?
Yeah.
It's more about the family and making sure that they get what they need, because some families don't really need that much care because they have it. They understand what's going on, but other families need more. But I still have to charge sort of a blanket price to cover, because at 2 o'clock in the morning, I have to drop everything and go. And that means all my massage clients get canceled and everything like that, right? So I have to also make sure that my bills are paid.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what advice would you give a student who's interested in either of these careers?
Just do it. If you feel like, honestly, because it can seem quite daunting, and it doesn't matter, who you identify as. Like, if you really have the passion to help people, just do it. And don't be worried about what anybody else has to say, Because if I was concerned about what other people had to say about my career choice, I wouldn't be doing it, right? If you feel passionate about it, just do it.
Is there much demand for either of these in Nova Scotia?
Oh yeah, massage is in high demand. Like I'm booked 6 weeks out all the time, and all of my colleagues are very busy. Doula work is definitely on the rise, especially with the pandemic. People were feeling like they wanted more personal support, so they went and turned to doulas. Both are in demand for sure.
Excellent. So, I mean, that was going to be kind of my next question was around COVID and how did it affect your jobs?
For massage, I was not able to work for about 6 months because the government had mandated, especially when we were in the big lockdown, the government had mandated that we not work, which was fine because I got 6 months to hang out with my kids. It was great. Financially, it wasn't so great, but family first, that was the best part. And doula work, I was still able to assist families, but sometimes I wasn't allowed to go into the hospital because of the restrictions, which was unfortunate, but I still gave as much care as I possibly could. And with, you know, minding the restrictions with the healthcare system, I respect those. So I just would let them go and I would still care for them afterwards. So it wasn't a huge impact, but it was enough that it was felt for sure.
All right. Any idea what type of courses would be helpful in high school if somebody was interested, like your biologies? What type of courses would people take in high school to help them get into these roles?
Math, biology, any of the sciences, math, English, right? Because you have to, in massage therapy, you have to write very detailed notes and they have to be clear and concise. And with the doula work, you still have to do the same thing. Math is important, especially if you think about wanting to be self-employed. You have to know how to do math because it's very important because that's how your business runs, right? It's all about money in, money out, and what's left.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the key things when it comes to, many of these healthcare options is that you often do want to work for yourself. So you do have to have that kind of business understanding in order to run your own business. Because as you said, you got to pay for your expenses and have some sort of income to live on as well.
Absolutely. And it's not very complicated because you charge a fee, you owe people money, like the government, and then there's a little bit of a slice that's left over for you, and you have to use that very wisely.
Yeah, that sounds just about perfectly right. And I'm open to questions in our chat now. If anybody has any questions, they can certainly put them in our chat, and we'll pass them on to Kelly. Anything else you wanted to tell us about it, Kelly?
No, that is just really great. And I know that it's not like on the top 10 career choices for most people, being a massage therapist or a doula. But I would say that being in the healthcare field is extremely rewarding because everybody needs care. And it's very rewarding. Where did I go to school? For massage therapy, I went to Northumberland College here in Halifax. And that was a long time ago. That was 20 years ago. I started school 22 years ago, actually.
Excellent. And then you did most of the doula was self-directed online?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, it was through an organization called Doula International, and it's all self-directed. There are courses that you can take here in Halifax if you want to become certified, and then they lay it out for you. But that was all pretty much self-directed.
Self-directed. Is there an exam or anything that you have to do in order to become a doula?
Yeah, so there's certain things you have to do. So you have to take the main course, and then you have to do a bunch of reading. You got to write some papers. You have to do your birth experience, and then you have to put it all together and get all these little qualifications, and then you submit it all, and then they look through and they make sure that everything is done, and then they certify you. Yeah.
Excellent. And I know you talked about more and more people looking for doulas. Do you think that's kind of the future, that more people are going to go to doulas and or midwives for more personal care?
I think so. Yeah, I think it is because it's part of families taking ownership of their own care instead of just becoming patients. And I see that trend, and it's really good because it empowers families to be able to make their own choices, and really advocate for themselves. And if they have the support in that, then the overall outcome of that family is usually better.
Excellent. And I think too, just with the shortage of doctors and things like that, like people may not feel they're getting as personalized care, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the shortage I don't think is going to go anywhere. And so people are seeking ways in order to take more control of their personal health care. And if that's the case, then the demand is just going to go up.
And I think we're seeing that with a lot of what people used to think of as alternative medicine, whether it's chiropractors or, doulas for certain, and midwives as well. And then, massage and all of those kind of things that people used to consider kind of extras are really becoming so mainstream now, and something that so many people do is part of their healthcare regime.
Absolutely, because people want to have control over how they feel and the care that they get. So somebody has to be there to provide those services. And you ask around anywhere, everybody's busy. And that's the only reason everybody's busy is because the general public is looking for these services. And eventually we are getting old in this. Some of us are getting rather old in this profession. So there has to be a turnover of people. So it's a great opportunity.
Excellent. I just think it's fascinating. I really do. I've never attended a human birth. I was supposed to be a birthing coach for somebody, but they ended up with an emergency C-section, 25 or 30 years ago. So I did all of that kind of pieces with her. Here comes my cat, who's decided today is the day she's going to be part of World of Choices as well. What about work-life balance? I mean, you talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I have a very busy life. She works full time. We have 3 boys with all their activities, and I'm on the go all the time. But we decided in the beginning that I would be have the more flexible job. She has a very stable, reliable job. I'm self-employed, so it creates more of a flexibility. So if the kids have something, I can just rearrange my schedule to make sure that that's happening.
Okay.
We try our best that somebody is home all the time. So like I work in the morning, but I make sure I'm home when the kids get off the bus. It could be very hectic, and I do take multiple trips in town, but that's just the way that we've chose it. If you are self-employed, you have the control. Sometimes you don't feel like you do because you feel like you always have to be making money, but you have the ultimate control, right? Just set your schedule, know how much money you're going to make, and do all those things. So you have the ability to set that balance yourself. I'm working on getting more balance for the new year because I feel like I was not getting enough balance at home because I was working a lot. Because the demand was there, so I took advantage of it. But I'm really working in 2022 to just slow down a little bit and be home a little bit more and just chill out.
Excellent. All right. Well, that was absolutely fascinating. And I just think it's so cool to see a male figure in a doula position. I suspect you're one of very few in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, there's not very many of us, but I hope that there's more, but there's not very many of us, no.
Excellent. So good. Thank you so much. And we're about to take a 15-minute break for our students so they can have a little bit of a break before we do our next one. But Kelly, we can say goodbye to you now. Thank you again so much. I'm completely fascinated with the concept.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.